The rule that makes life 10 times simpler. Imagine for a second that you are in a small rowboat, right in the middle of the ocean. You are rowing with everything you've got. You are sweating, your muscles are burning, and you are exhausting yourself. You feel like you're giving 100% of your energy. But when you finally look up to check the horizon, you realize something terrifying. You are just going in circles. You have traveled miles in distance, but you haven't moved an inch toward your destination. This is the exact portrait of modern life. We have confused being busy with being productive. We have become experts at filling our time, but amateurs at actually living our lives. We wake up to notifications, we rush through traffic, we juggle 14 different goals, and we collapse on the couch scrolling through TikTok until midnight, wondering why life feels like permanent chaos. Why do we do this? Because we were lied to. Someday, you were sold the idea that there is a timeline for everything. You were told that there is a specific chronological order to success. Get the grades, get the degree, get the job, buy the house, get the promotion, fill the schedule. You were told that more equals better. More money, more projects, more friends, more subscriptions. But the accumulation of more doesn't lead to happiness, it leads to noise. And that noise is deafening. It prevents you from hearing the only thing that actually matters. So, how do we stop the boat from spinning? The golden rule. There is a rule. It's an ancient philosophy used by the greatest strategists in history, but completely forgotten by the majority of people today. If you apply this rule, your life doesn't just become simpler, it becomes 10 times more powerful. The rule fits into one single sentence: do less, but do it better. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like laziness. But hear me out. It is the exact opposite of laziness. Laziness is doing nothing. This rule is about doing the right thing. It is the ultimate discipline of saying a hard no to 90% of the opportunities that come your way, so you can say a massive, absolute yes to the 10% that actually change your life. Greg McKeown calls this essentialism. I call it taking back control. See, our brains are wired to hoard. We hoard information, we hoard tasks, we hoard commitments. If you don't consciously control your brain, it will default to clutter. You will become a jack of all trades, master of none. But the people who truly win, the ones who have calm, clear, and incredibly productive lives, they don't play that game. They don't try to be everywhere. They choose a lane, and they dominate it. The Steve Jobs example. Let me prove to you that this works with a story you might think you know, but probably missed the most important part of. Let's go back to 1997. Apple. The company is literally on death's door. They are weeks away from bankruptcy. At that time, Apple was selling everything. They had distinct lines for servers, printers, PDAs, obscure desktop variations. It was a mess. No one knew what Apple stood for anymore. Then, Steve Jobs returns. Everyone expects him to announce a miracle product to save the company. Maybe a new printer? A new supercomputer? But he does the unthinkable. He gathers his top managers in a room. He walks up to a whiteboard and he draws a simple grid. 2 columns, 2 rows. That's it, 4 squares. He says, "We are going to kill everything else." He eliminated 70% of the product line. 70%. The critics said he was insane. They said you can't grow a business by shrinking it. But here is what happened. By removing the noise, Apple could focus all its engineering genius, all its marketing power, and all its capital on just 4 exceptional products. The result? They didn't just survive. They went from near bankruptcy to becoming the most valuable company in human history. The lesson here is physics. If you try to push 10 heavy rocks at the same time, nothing moves. You just get tired. But if you put all that same energy behind one single boulder, you can move mountains. Why is it so hard? The FOMO. If the math is so simple, if doing less leads to better results, why don't we all do it? Why does your to-do list still look like a receipt from a grocery store? It's because of a mental virus we all carry, the fear of missing out. FOMO. We are terrified that if we say no to a project, or no to a dinner party, or no to a side hustle, we are losing an opportunity. We think keeping our options open is safe. But let's look at the word decision. It comes from the Latin word decidere, which literally means to cut off. You cannot make a real decision without killing other options. You have to mourn the paths you didn't take. Most people live their lives as jugglers. They are trying to keep 15 balls in the air while riding a unicycle. It looks impressive for a minute, but sooner or later, gravity wins. The crash is inevitable. Trying to keep everything is a choice. It's the choice to be average at everything. Accepting that you have to cut things out, that is the choice to be excellent at something. Personal story and the shift. I learned this the hard way. Back in college, I was that guy. I wanted to be the hero of my own movie. I was the president of a student club. I tried to work out every day. I was trying to launch a business on the side. I wanted to see my friends every night. And I was aiming for a 4.0 GPA. From the outside, I looked ambitious. I looked like I was hustling. But from the inside, I was burning alive. My projects were half-finished trash. My relationships were superficial because I was never fully present. And my energy levels were in the basement. I was living in a constant mental fog. I was busy, but I wasn't effective. Then I hit a wall. Burnout. It wasn't pretty. I realized I had to change, or I was going to crash. So I took a blank sheet of paper, and I made a deal with myself. I would only keep 2 priorities. Just 2. I wrote down 1, my health, 2, my degree. Everything else? The club, the side business, the random social events, I cut them. I deleted them from my life. And the magic happened in about 30 days. My grades skyrocketed because I actually had time to study deeply. I started sleeping 8 hours a night. And paradoxically, I felt like I had more free time. By doing less, I had gained more life. I wasn't rushing anymore. I was advancing. The Buffett strategy, the not-to-do list. Now you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I need to prioritize. But there is a trap. And to illustrate this trap, there is a famous story about Warren Buffett and his personal pilot, Mike Flint. One day, Mike told Buffett about his career goals. He felt stuck. So Buffett asked him to do a simple exercise. He said, "Mike, write down your top 25 career goals." Mike took some time and wrote them all down. Then Buffett said, "Now circle the top 5. Only the top 5. It was hard, but Mike selected the 5 most important ones. He looked at Buffett and said, "Okay, I have my top 5. These are my primary focus, and I'll work on the other 20 during my spare time." And Buffett stopped him immediately. He said, "No, you've got it wrong. The other 20 things you didn't circle, they are not your spare time list. They are your avoid at all cost list." This is the secret. The enemies of your success aren't the bad ideas. You know how to say no to bad ideas. The real enemies are the good ideas. The goals that are interesting enough to distract you, but not important enough to change your life. Those 20 other goals, they are the reason you never finish the top 5. The Amazon effect and the method. This rule applies to everyone, even Jeff Bezos. Amazon didn't start as the everything store. If they tried to sell shoes, electronics, and food in 1994, they would have collapsed. Bezos started with one single product: books. That's it. He mastered that one niche perfectly. Only when he won that game did he expand. So, how do you do this? How do you apply less but better to your life starting tomorrow? You need a protocol. Here are the 3 steps. Step 1. The ruthless audit. You need to look at everything that takes up your time, your work tasks, your hobbies, your social obligations. And for every single item, ask yourself this question: if I wasn't already doing this, would I start doing it today? If the answer is no, get rid of it. Don't fall for the sunk cost fallacy. Step 2. The 90% rule. Rate every opportunity on a scale of 0 to 100. If you rate something a 60, a 70, or even an 80, it's a no. Everything below 90 is a 0. Why? Because if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. We want to clear out the good to make room for the great. Step 3. Protect the fortress. Once you have chosen your few essential priorities, you need to build a wall around them. Put your phone in airplane mode. Block out your mornings. Be inaccessible for trivial things so you can be fully available for the important things. Conclusion and challenge. Simplifying takes courage. In a world that is constantly screaming, more, 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 choosing less is an act of rebellion. It's scary to step off the treadmill when everyone else is running. But imagine your life 1 year from now if you do this. Imagine waking up without that heavy weight on your chest. No more frantic rushing. No more guilt about unfinished tasks. Just the crystal clear clarity of knowing you are moving forward on the things that actually matter to you. Minimalism isn't about having a boring, empty life. It's about having a life filled with meaning. If you want to see more videos like this about choosing signal over noise, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people who are trying to take back control of their time. So today, I am leaving you with a challenge. I want you to find one thing to delete from your life. Just one. Maybe it's an app. Maybe it's a toxic commitment. Maybe it's a goal you don't actually care about. Cut it loose and watch the space that opens up. Do less, but do it better. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for listening. Subscribe if this blueprint helped you take a confident step forward. See you soon to continue this journey together.